some transformations stall in the fog, not because people resist change, but because no one can see the way forward. If trust is the foundation of transformation, then clarity is the force that moves it forward. I've seen this in boardrooms where priorities shift weekly, in war rooms where teams debate symptoms instead of solving causes, and in organizations where urgency becomes noise until even the best teams stall. Hi, I'm Mirza Chuktai, and this is part 2 of Transformation That Sticks. Today, we are tackling a question I've wrestled with in every major transformation I've had the privilege to lead or advise. How do you create clarity that does not just inform, but actually drives action? Because clarity, real clarity, is rarely the default. It has to be designed intentionally into the operating system of the organization. Let me frame it this way. In transformation work, ambiguity is unavoidable, but indecision is not. Yet too often, when clarity is missing, here's what fills the void. I'll start with calling out the contrast for you. Number 1, decision clarity versus decision fatigue for periods when every choice feels like a coin toss. Number 2, priority clarity versus everything is a priority chaos for situations when everything is urgent, so nothing moves. Number 3, role clarity versus blurred accountability for instances when ownership vanishes into the fog. And last but not the least, signal clarity versus noise for times when data drowns insight and no one knows where to focus. That's the leadership gap clarity is meant to close. Because when leaders fail to provide clarity, we don't just drown, we drift. Now, here's how I've seen this solved in the real world. Let me walk you through 3 disciplines that have driven operational clarity in the most complex, highly regulated global transformations I've had the privilege to be a part of. Let me explain discipline 1. Name the non-negotiables. In large-scale change, not everything is up for grabs. People need to know what's open for debate, what's non-negotiable, and how to tell the difference. When I had the opportunity to advise a Fortune Global 50 financial services firm, we were dealing with thousands of technologists supporting 30 million customers spread across continents, compliance regimes, and operational models. There was no common language to cut through the noise across teams, technologies, and regulatory frameworks. So we built one, a decision-making framework called Forte. 5 lenses that governed every strategic decision in the organization: financial impact, operational impact, regulatory impact, technological impact, and experience impact for both customers and employees. Once Forte was in place, we were not just driving alignment, we were accelerating progress. Now we had a common language to discuss impact across teams and across organizations. Because now every proposal, every decision was filtered through a consistent criterion. Clarity gave us the courage to say no and the language to get to yes faster. This was not just a document, it was a decision muscle applied at scale. Let's explore discipline 2. Design for signal, not noise. Let me explain. Transformation generates data, but data without clarity, that's distraction. When I worked with a Fortune Global 300 life sciences company, we needed to scale Agile and DevOps across 20,000 plus developers worldwide. But shipping faster meant nothing if we could not trust what was moving. We designed for signal pathways, not just reporting pipelines. We anchored everything to 6 value drivers, each with defined key performance indicators. Let me share those value drivers with you. Number 1, agility. Here, we focused on faster realization of business value and shorter cycle times. We were able to improve the organization's entire change management velocity. Number 2, efficiency. Here, we focused on reducing the time wasted on firefighting incidents and lowering the overall operational costs. Here, we drove the adoption of AI ops for predictive insights. Number 3, stability. Here, we focused on improving the mean time to resolution, often referred to as MTTR. We were not just counting incidents, we were measuring how resilient the system became under stress. Number 4, quality. Here, we focused on higher release success rates, fewer defects, and better customer satisfaction. Every release became an opportunity to strengthen brand trust. Number 5, security. Here, we focus on improving the risk posture and information security governance. Every deployment was scanned not just for speed, but for compliance and ethical engineering standards. And last but not the least, number 6, employee satisfaction. Here, we focused on reducing the employee burnout, improving the employee net promoter score, because teams don't sustain velocity in toxic environments. This was not measurement for measurement's sake. It was clarity with a purpose to restore trust, protect the brand, and ship value without compromise. Without that clarity, teams would have just been pushing code. With it, they were driving outcomes aligned with company ethos. And here's discipline number 3, clarity through the middle. Let me explain. This is where most transformations collapse. Not at the top, where the strategy is declared, not even on the front lines, where urgency is felt, but in the middle layers, where people don't understand their role in what's changing. Please allow me to share a real-world example with you. There was a time when I had the privilege to be part of a global mainframe to distributed systems transformation across 4 continents. We were moving towards the world's largest single instance ERP, integrated with e-commerce plus technical integrations from multiple mergers and acquisitions. The strategy was clear, but if the middle did not carry it, we would fail. The question was, how do you mobilize thousands of employees across 4 continents into a single orchestrated transformation? So we built a role level clarity system. We instituted a 1 to 10 ratio for upskilling through a very rigorous train the trainer model. We orchestrated weekly global architecture review boards to align the system wide blueprint. We empowered the regional change management meetings to translate that blueprint into week by week clarity. Our goal was that every employee must know how their role was evolving, what training was prioritized for them for this week, which business processes were migrating from mainframe to modern ERP this week. We did not just inform people, we gave them clarity they could act on. And we made sure that clarity did not dilute as it traveled downward. Transformation does not move at the speed of ambition. It moves at the speed of clarity. Because real clarity, it shows up in the decisions that people make when you are not in the room. Leadership is about knowing the way forward and giving others the clarity to walk it with you. If this resonates, I would love to hear your experiences. Please drop your reflections in the comments below and stay with me. This is Mirza Chuktai, and part 3, Execution That Scales, is up next. Until then, let's keep building transformation that sticks.